Hey everyone, how you doing? Want to do a quick thing about the nose today. This will be a quick replay here. So I'm going to do my instant replay again. I'm going to scrub it. And as you can see, one of the things I want to point out here is that you can see that I am just starting with that basic top plane, the basic structure. I noticed that some of you folks were going in there and going to the more complex model. And I really, for myself, I still start with mostly the simple model, and then I'll add the complex model in there if I feel I need to. A lot of times I'll go direct to the nostrils. But the simple model is the one to really work. You can see, once again, laid it in, got that simple model going. Then I'm starting to lay the structure on top of it. Over and over again, simple model, laying some of that structure in there. One of the big things that I'm trying to always hit is that keystone image. Not image, but that keystone shape. Once again, simple model so I can easily understand the planes. Understand where things are going, how it's going to look, and be distorted in perspective. Then I can add all the other stuff on top of it. I think at this stage I've done it so much. I think I went right to my complex model on that one. Simple model up there again. We can see that happening. People always want to make stuff complex too fast, and they usually lose the form. They're lost in the trees, they're lost in the complexity, and they lose sight of what is supposed to be going on because they're so focused on just how complex something is instead of keeping it simple. And you'll see on this one, I kept it pretty simple. Now once again, I made tons of mistakes. It's one of the good things about digital, allows you to real quickly move quickly, and because you move quickly, you're gonna make some mistakes, but you can quickly alter them. If I was doing this as a pencil, I had spent longer in my setup, making sure I had all my measurements really down. I would triple check them at least before I started all the rendering. So here you can see I'm doing to that photo that's to the right. And I'm drawing that in. I'm slowly working it in my sketch style that I do. At least digitally. Once again, let's go back. You're going to get bored of me. You'll see one of the things I'm doing over and over again too is I'm laying in that keystone, the Gabella. I'm laying that in from the brow to that nose. That's one of the parts I lay in real quickly. And you'll notice right here, I've laid in those two lines, but I'm laying in the extra line on the right side to really show it in perspective. I'm telling you that we can see the nose more from the right hand side than we can from the left hand side. And I'm doing it based on the female that's in this picture to the right. Let me go back a little bit. I'll make this female bigger. I'll make this a little bit bigger. Here you can see I'm laying that in. I just laid the simple shape in and I laid the values in. Moved the nose real quickly. I thought her nose, I keep on making my noses a little bit too short. So all of us keep on, there's all the little things that we do. So that's the basic thing today, is we want to work on making sure we get that real simple shape. Isn't that a great image of Jules? We're laying this stuff in. Here, we'll just do this one real quickly. The main thing here is to come down. I usually start with that keystone image. That kind of lays it in for me. Might nail this in. A lot of times I'm coming down and I'm going to nail this side just so I know that I'm seeing a little bit more of the left side here. My line was a little too wide on that time, so now I'm just going to adjust it. Remember, it's thinner at the top and it gets thicker. I saw a lot of you people doing the stuff where it was kind of even width. It's always a little thinner up here. Gets wider because of the ball of the nose down here. If I really wanted to make it actually width of the ball of the nose would probably come out to here. So let's do that real quickly. I'm looking for this angle that goes over here. So this angle that goes here, this always, usually the angles that are far away from us, I'll use those to real quickly kind of establish. Those are easier to see. So I can real kind of quickly establish what the angle is, and then I just have to be careful of the one that's closest to us. Make sure I am getting that correctly here. Draw this over if I need to. Make sure I get in the, make sure they're lining up that way. I'm going to take that a little bit farther out because we're seeing, I think I turned her nose a little bit more in my drawing than I should have. But she really has, that side of the nose here really goes out wider. So I'm just laying this down and make sure I get this perspective correct. Bring it over here. This perspective on this side is a lot easier to see. I'll bring it over here real quickly to make sure I'm getting that. Remember, everything should line up. Okay, I'll get that lining up. I'm just going to real quickly get where the top of the eye socket kind of comes up. Just real quickly going to get that in. So that's me getting in her nose, just the basic shape. And at this point, then what I would do is then I would come back and nail just the bottom part of the nose here. And a lot of times I'm not going to take it that much farther than this. It depends. I'll notice that she comes out there, it actually goes a little thinner here. And it comes out wide right where that nasal bone would be. That's going to be this wide part right here. Let me go a little bit darker for you folks so you can easily see. It'll come out a little bit wider. Usually I'd be doing this a little bit softer. I'd keep the blue color because I could know exactly where it is, but it's probably a little hard to see on the digital recording. I'm going to work on this angle a little bit, see how it's coming out here. This is going to come in here. One of the things we're going to talk a little bit more about as we go on is locking. One form going into another and locking into that form. You can see a little bit here. You can see this line kind of comes out here, and that's, if we look at the anatomy sheets that I gave you, you'll see that that is the cartilage kind of coming out there. So I have to be aware of that. That's what's making this part come out here. Nose, realize that nose is coming in here. When we get the top and bottom plane, realize this is coming here. And then it's going to curve inward. So it's going to go here, and then it's going to curve in. And that's this section here is what I'm trying to address. And it's kind of hard to see. It's obscured by that nose ring a little bit. Look at, one of the things we want to start looking at is look at the shape of the nostrils. You'll have a variety of shapes of nostrils. Try to identify, is it more of a thin, goes like this? Is it more going like this? Does it open wide? Look at that shape of that nostril. Doesn't have to be perfect. Here we're going to get that little part coming out here. When you see that kind of comes out to that lip, a lot of times I'll help find the top of where the teeth are, and that's going to be part of the muzzle. This is the bottom plane. I'm going to come down here, double check my angles here, come back, go up, here. So there I did. I quickly blocked in that nose. Let's go back over this. Going to make sure this center part comes inside the ball of the nose. It's locking in here. Then we're going to come back to this wide section where, once again, that's the nasal bone where it ends. I'm coming in here, and I'm going to bring this in a little bit. We're going to have this part lock onto it. I'm going to share some Vanderpool drawings that show some of this. Get some of this locking in here. Once again, I would probably do this all with the blue. Drop of value in there. When I'm dropping a value, I just think of that, but what is that bottom plane here? Design my shadow. Then I'm going to treat that whole bottom plane from the bottom of that up here, from this nose section to the bottom of the shadow down here. I'm going to lay that in as one giant shadow shape. Then I can come back and I can start adding, like the nostrils darker if I want to. I can add a little part to separate that. But this is a good way to kind of bring those forms together, but then add a subtle, slight sense of separation there. Alright, well I hope this was helpful. Reach out and contact me if you have any questions.